A little disclaimer just before we start off. I want to include more diabetic content into my YouTube channel, but I really don't want it to seem like I'm educating, teaching, or giving medical advice at all. I just want to share what my life is personally like with diabetes and how I incorporate it into my life, how it affects my life. I don't want you to copy exactly what I'm doing because everything that works for me might not work for you. I'm not trying to convince you to do something my way. There are so many things to get criticized on, so I'm scared that I'm going to get hate. I asked you guys to ask me questions on Instagram about diabetes. Thank you so much for your questions. Let's get on to this video. Because you live by yourself, how do you handle lows and highs in the night, especially lows? This was one of the things that my mom was so worried about. You can literally die in your sleep from being low, and that is literally such a huge concern. Like, if my heating just turned on. That is such a huge concern with parents, like when their child finally goes to university or they start living by themselves. So what I have is the Dexcom CGM sensor, and it does a really loud alarm. I'm sorry to my neighbors. But it's a really loud alarm whenever I go low, and that has been such a key thing. Also, every single morning, my mom makes me like text her an emoji, just a random emoji. Like, it's kind of fun every morning, but just to let her know that I'm alive, I made it through the night, and we're thriving. Do you ever feel faint and can't get work done because you are sick? Yes, actually, and I get so down on myself whenever I feel low, or honestly, whenever I have a high blood sugar, I can't do work because your brain doesn't function properly. Like, you can't think, you can't make decisions, you are more irritable. Like, there are so many things that happen when you're low that are not just losing energy. So when I'm low, I say to myself, okay, like, am I going to do this to the best of my ability if I'm low? No, I'm just gonna take a break. I'm just gonna go on my phone, use this as a 10-minute break or however long I need, because I know that if I start working and I'm low, like, literally nothing is gonna be good. That makes sense. And also, it was at school too, where I would have to go and tell the teacher I have low blood sugar, I can't take this test, and some of them would be like, what are you talking about? Like, you need to take insulin, which is literally the opposite of what you need when you have a low blood sugar. I can't do math when I'm low. So, oh, and if that happens to you and then they don't let you not take the test, first of all, show them your blood sugar if you can. Like, show them your actual, like, physical thing. And if they still don't understand, then just don't take the test. Just walk out of the class, okay? Like, it's not your fault that you have a low blood sugar, and it's not like you're trying to get out of anything. What exercises make you go low really fast? TikTok dances. I'm not kidding. I will do a TikTok dance for like 5 to 8 minutes, let's say. In that 5 to 8 minutes, I'm like 2 arrows going down. Like, I don't know what it is because it's like cardio, but maybe it's like high intensity interval training technically, because you go like full out with everything and then you stop and then you go like full out again. So it's like intervals. I don't know, but TikTok dances always make me go so low, like more than working out, which is weird. Are you ever nervous it will affect you in the future? My parents have always been super open with me about what the long-term complications of having diabetes are, and it's really, really scary. You can get limbs cut off, like you can lose your eyesight, you can have kidney problems, like there are so many problems later in life that are the result of not taking care of your diabetes. So that's been like literally my main motivation, because right now you're like, oh, you're young, like nothing can happen, but in your 20s and 30s you could be going blind. You just really don't want that because it's something that you can prevent. Do Canadians use a different number system from Americans to monitor blood sugar? Yes, they do. And I found this so confusing when I saw a commercial and on the tester it said like 64. And I was like, you could be dead if you were at a 64. So yes, they do use a different number system. Camera died. Okay, has diabetes held you back from anything you wanted to do? Not really. I really would be so mad if diabetes held me back from doing something that I really wanted to do. But when I was little, I literally was set on being a professional dancer. When my mom kind of pointed out to me one day, she was like, if you have high blood sugars at dance competitions now, so hard to control your blood sugars when you go to dance, how are you going to do that for your career? I also forget my dances when I'm low. So if it's my career and I'm low on stage and I forget my dance routine, that could literally cost me money. Not saying that it's like impossible to do like a physical activity thing for your career when you have diabetes, but I obviously had other things that I wanted to do in life, so I was kind of okay with letting that one go, but I guess it kind of, I don't really know. Did that really answer your question? I guess it's a no then. Does it make you more at risk for COVID? Yes. Yes, it does. Your immune system is already weaker to begin with. It'll make the symptoms worse for you, and it'll make the probability of having it literally be fatal for you much higher. So that's why I have to be super careful with COVID, and everyone with autoimmune diseases and pre-existing medical conditions should be super, super careful. Definitely true. What do you have to do every day? I'm actually planning on making a like day in my life as a diabetic video in the future, so comment down below if you'd actually want me to make that. But I'm just gonna like walk you guys through how diabetes affects me every single day. Mostly it's just taking insulin and checking my blood sugars and just what I eat. It's not really that different than what you would think, because I've kind of like had my own routine down. I've had it for a long time. I got diagnosed when I was 3 years old and now I'm 18. I kind of know what I'm doing with my routine. It doesn't affect my day that much, but it's just the fact that it affects every single day and you never get a break. That is the hardest thing. What type do you have, and what are the weirdest stereotypes you've heard about it? So I have type 1, which is the genetic kind. My dad has type 1 diabetes, so I got type 1 diabetes from him. Thanks, Dad. What the weirdest stereotype I've heard is someone asked me if I could have babies because I was diabetic. Like, apparently if you're diabetic, you can't have babies. Like, to me that sounds really funny. What has living with diabetes taught you? Literally so much. I could go on and on, but basically it has made me so much more of a stronger person because I've had to be different from a lot of people in school, in dance, and everywhere. It made me be okay with being different in that sense. If I didn't have diabetes, I wouldn't have been paying attention much to my health or what I ate or working out. It wouldn't have really like sparked that health grind, that fitness grind that I like to be on. Do you find it hard when you go to your friend's house to eat? Yes. Yes, I'm being so completely honest. Yes, yes, yes. I am the biggest people pleaser out there. And oh my God, once I went to my friend's house and their mom literally made me this beautiful like dinner. It was like pasta and it had all these like spices on it, and then it was like chicken, and then it just looked so freaking gourmet, and I knew she spent so much time on it. It had so many carbs in it. At this time that I'm explaining, I was low carb, high fat, but right now I am plant-based, high carb, low fat. But at that time I was low carb and I literally couldn't eat the pasta. I couldn't eat like the potatoes and like other things that she made, and I felt so bad. I was like, I am so sorry, I can't eat this. And like I just ended up eating like chicken and salad, and I just feel, it just hurts my heart when I say no to people, especially if they put effort into making me food. Why are you eating plant-based? I found that every single body is different because there are people that rave about certain diets for controlling blood sugars. It actually taught me that you can never judge a way of eating without actually trying it yourself and seeing how it works on your body. Because if I told you I am diabetic, the first thing you think of is, oh, she can't have sugar, or oh, she can't eat carbs. But the fact that I say I have a high carb, low fat diet, people are like, what are you doing? You're literally like poisoning yourself. You're making it so much harder. But I'm actually not, because my blood sugars have been so much better eating this way. If I'm going to give like advice to any diabetic, is to just try out things and experiment, give them enough time to work, but not everything works for everyone. Did it make it harder as a kid at sleepovers and parties? Yes, it did. The first time I went to a high school party, my blood sugars went crazy because of the adrenaline and just being around people. It's something you have to like adjust to. Like, that was something that I really wasn't used to, and all the adrenaline and everything. I have been there where I'm like, wow, this is not good. But then I learned as I go on, like I know what to do at parties now. How many times a day do you have to inject insulin? I get this a lot actually. So I'm on insulin pens instead of the pump. I take on average, let's see, 1, 2, maybe 6 or 7 needles a day. And it depends just like on how much I'm eating and if I have a high blood sugar, all of that good stuff. My insulin intake does vary a lot because I'm a girl. I have a period, which means there's like a week before my period where my insulin resistance goes way high, so I have to bump up my basal. And then when I get my period, it just goes right back down, so I have to really be careful about that. But the amount of needles varies per per day. How did you find out you had diabetes? I had the very typical common symptoms: having to pee all the time, always being thirsty, feeling like headachy, dry mouth, just feeling off. That was pretty much basically it. I'd be sweating, I'd be shaky. It was a kind of crazy story, my diagnosis. I would click the eye and watch that crazy story time that I did with my mom about how I got diagnosed because his doctor basically told me that I didn't have it. Yeah, I'm just gonna save that story for that time. Do you ever wish you didn't have diabetes so you could eat differently? Obviously, I had times in my life where I wish I wasn't diabetic, but no, I don't wish that I didn't have that. Does that make sense? No, I don't wish. I have just that extra thing that's motivating me to eat healthier than the average person. Because if I'm like, oh, if I eat this cupcake, I, 1, gonna feel like poo, and 2, my blood sugars are gonna go insane, which will make me feel like even more poo. So why would I do that? It's just that extra motivation. How do you motivate yourself to take care of diabetes on days you feel like ignoring it? This question is so relatable. I have had so many days where I just want to do nothing. I don't want to check my blood sugar. I don't want to take insulin. And I don't want to eat healthy. I have those days. I have never ever, I don't think ever one day of my life not checked my blood sugar, ever. Is it hard to manage in public? More when I was a little kid, yeah, because you were in such close proximity to every single other student, especially at lunchtime when you had to eat in your classroom, and everyone would just be like, why is this girl like bleeding all over the table? Like, what is going on? But right now, even though I have to take out my pens in restaurants and, you know, kind of looks like I'm doing some sort of drug in there, I really don't care, and honestly, it's like kind of cool. Because people probably think I'm like 15 or 16 and they're like, this girl's like literally managing something. They might not even know that it is diabetes, but they know that I'm taking care of my health, and it's like kind of cool. Do all of your friends know about your diabetes? Yes, of course they do. I think a lot of people actually know about my diabetes, not just because I put it online, but because when you went to school, you had to like get that little page that they stuck on the office wall where it says, Sadie, Aldis. They put a picture of you and then it's like, type 1 diabetes, call for emergency, insulin is in the office fridge, like all these things. So I was kind of known as having diabetes. Also, when I was in elementary school, I would have to make a presentation to every single one of my classes that I had diabetes and what I was doing when I was testing my blood sugar and what the pump was and that it wasn't a Game Boy. All of my friends are super supportive of it and they've never treated me different for having diabetes, and they shouldn't treat you any different because, first of all, you didn't choose to have it. Unless you did. Unless you just woke up one day and you were like, I really want diabetes, and then the universe gave it to you. That's it for this video. Please don't take anything that I'm saying too serious. If you have any more questions about diabetes or any video ideas revolving diabetes, comment them down below. It's just another side of me that I really want to start sharing more of. Not the like educational teaching side, but just, you know, my life with diabetes. If you want to participate in more of my Q&As or just anything that's not YouTube, you can follow my Instagram. It's right here. It's Sadie Aldis. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.